Proton takes significant step towards addressing global market demand. Two-tier pricing best for addressing inflation. Good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Malaysia Tonight and my name is Darryl Baptist. Proton has taken another significant step forward toward addressing global market demand, with the Malaysian automaker set to begin local assembly of its popular Saga model in Egypt beginning December. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the move was part of Malaysia's efforts in bringing a new identity in joint nation collaboration. He said the joint collaboration is vital in showcasing local industry and expertise.
We come here as partners, we share our expertise, we transfer technology, we believe in localization, as Malaysia did as a policy, or continue to do. We are here as partners, not only the business to business, but the whole government, as assured by President Al-Fatah Sisi. To me, he says, look, Anwar, we want to establish this sort of enterprise, investments based on new tradition and culture and collaboration based on trust and true friendship.
Datuk Seri Anwar said this in his speech at the newly launched Assembly Centre in Cairo at the end of his official visit to Egypt. The automaker aims to assemble and sell around 5,000 units of the Proton Saga in Egypt by 2025. It also anticipates to transform Egypt into a significant hub for Proton models in the region. The automaker is expected to generate 570 million ringgit from the export of complete knockdown or CKD packs to Egypt by 2026, with an additional 20 million ringgit from parts exports. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim will be awarded Peru's highest honour, the El Sol del Peru Medal, during his first official visit to the Latin American country. According to the Ambassador of Malaysia to Peru, Ahmad Irman Iqmal Hisham, the award is in recognition of the Prime Minister's upcoming participation in the 31st APEC Economic Leaders Meeting, also known as AELM, scheduled to take place in Lima, Peru from 14th to 16th November. Fariha Zubir has more.
The award, which is the highest honour for a head of government, will be presented to Prime Minister Anwar in recognition of his leadership and efforts in fostering stronger bilateral ties between Malaysia and Peru. The Prime Minister, who will arrive in Lima on November 13, will be accompanied by key Malaysian ministers including Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan, the Minister of Foreign Affairs Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, the Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry Akmal Nasrullah Muhammad Nasir, the Deputy Minister of Energy Transition and Water Transformation, and Datuk Seri Huang Tiong Sing, the Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability. During the visit, Prime Minister Anwar is scheduled to meet Peruvian President Dina Ercelia Boluarte Zegarga at the Peruvian Government Palace to discuss expanding bilateral cooperation, particularly in the areas such as trade, investment and renewable energy.
Status hubungan dua hala, bidang perdagangan dan pelaburan, serta meneroka kerjasama baharu dalam industri halal, pembangunan infrastruktur, pendidikan dan budaya bagi mengukuhkan hubungan persahabatan di antara kedua negara.
The total trade between Malaysia and Peru reached 1.16 billion ringgit from January to July 2024, marking a significant increase of 36.3% compared to the previous year. The Prime Minister is also set to engage with Peruvian business leaders in a roundtable discussion with a focus on business opportunities in the renewable energy and digital industries. Furthermore, Anwar will participate as a panelist at the APEC CEO Summit on November 14, which will address the opportunities and challenges posed by the artificial intelligence revolution. In addition to this engagement, Prime Minister Anwar will take part in the APEC Leaders Informal Dialogue with Guests and APEC Economic Leaders Dialogue with APEC Business Advisory Council, ABAC. He will also hold bilateral meeting with leaders from other APEC economies, including Japan and New Zealand, to further enhance Malaysia's relations with the Asia-Pacific region.
The 2024 APEC Economic Leaders Meeting Team Empower include GROW, convened leaders from 21 Pacific Rim economies, including Malaysia, to address economic challenges facing the Asia-Pacific region. The summit focused on promoting free trade and strengthening economic cooperation, with leaders discussing key issues vital to the region's prosperity and inclusive growth. Farahia Zube, Lima, Peru, RTM.
Thank you for that report, Farahia, and I wish you a safe travel and safe return from your travels. And now on to our next story. The Canada-ASEAN Business Council, or CABC, has recently held a conference to help Canadian enterprises seek business opportunities in ASEAN. According to the Vietnam news agency VNA, the event attracted over 200 participants, including Canadian government officials, ASEAN diplomats and business people, and experts from both sides. The conference focused on key issues affecting ASEAN and Canada, with a spotlight on trade and investment opportunities, policy updates, and practical steps to enhance bilateral cooperation. With a substantial turnout of business people, officials, and stakeholders, the conference created a valuable platform for networking and knowledge exchange, expected to catalyze stronger cooperation across multiple sectors. Canada is proactively advancing its trade strategy in the Indo-Pacific, with an emphasis on securing free trade agreements, or FTAs, with ASEAN as a bloc and with Indonesia individually. These agreements, slated for completion by 2025, are anticipated to invigorate trade relations and complement the existing partnership framework under the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP, in which 4 ASEAN countries participate. Upon completion, the FTA with ASEAN could boost Canada's GDP by $2.5 billion and ASEAN's by nearly $40 billion. Now, using a vehicle ownership levy may raise the risk of missing out some RON 95 subsidy recipients. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli explained that the central database, or PADU, which contains the profiles of Malaysian citizens and permanent residents, shows that roughly 40% of B60 families do not have vehicle ownership registration, as they may be using other people's vehicles.
Hakikatnya bagi keluarga-keluarga terbawah, mereka sebenarnya tidak ada pun pendaftaran kenderaan, kerana satu keluarga mungkin dia menggunakan motor atas nama pendaftaran orang lain. Kita juga telah lalui perkara ini semasa pelaksanaan penyasaran diesel contohnya, yang mana orang menggunakan nama orang lain untuk menggunakan kenderaan itu. Jadi data awal ini menunjukkan ada ketidakpadanan yang besar akibat amalan yang berlainan di bawah, kerana sama ada orang sambung bayar ataupun ibu bapa dia beli untuk orang lain ataupun guna nama orang lain.
He said this during the minister's question time in the Dewan Rakyat today. Rafizi said that the government is aware that there is no perfect method to implement RON 95 petrol subsidy rationalisation, as every proposal will come with operational, cost and fraud risks. Adding to that, Rafizi said the government is proceeding with a 2-tier pricing system for RON 95 fuel best suited to address inflation. The minister said the government acknowledges that there is no perfect approach to implementing a mechanism for targeting fuel subsidy. The 2-tier pricing system would introduce 2 prices at petrol stations, one that is subsidized and the other that is not using several methods currently under consideration, namely identification cards and e-wallets. Rafizi explained that the alternatives, which are cash handouts and levy based on vehicle ownership, would be riskier and would increase inflation.
Dalam keadaan sekarang yang kita sama-sama sedang menangani kos sara hidup, perkara yang kita perlu elakkan ialah melonjaknya inflasi. Kerana kita telah tengok pelaksanaan GST dan juga pengampungan harga minyak bermula tahun 2015 itu telah menyebabkan antara tahun 2015 hingga 2018 kenaikan harga makanan dan inflasi antara 3 ke 7% secara berterusan.
Speaking at the Day One Rakyat today, he said the government's priority is to avoid inflation and rising prices, which has led them to settle on the two-tiered pricing system. A 20-month pilot project using this system had been implemented from 2022 to 2023. The Ministry of Entrepreneur and Cooperatives Development, also known as KUSCOP, has launched new initiatives for Indian entrepreneurs involving additional financing funds totaling 136 million ringgit.
KUSCOP juga melancarkan inisiatif-inisiatif baru kepada usahawan-usahawan, khususnya komuniti India, melibatkan inisiatif program PIN, Prosperity Empowerment and a New Normal, di bawah amanah ikhtiar berjumlah RM50 juta, program pembiayaan Bank Rakyat, Indian Entrepreneur Financing Brief I berjumlah RM50 juta.
Deputy Minister Dato Sri R. Ramanan said KUSCOP will continue to encourage MSMEs involvement in high growth, high value or HGHV activities, which are expected to contribute more significantly to the country's gross domestic product. He said this is to support the implementation of the new Industrial Master Plan 2030, also known as NIMP 2030, in enhancing MSMEs' competitiveness and participation in high growth manufacturing value chains at both domestic and international levels. He added that MSMEs' contributions increased to 613.1 billion ringgit in 2023 compared to 584.1 billion ringgit in 2022. Good news for Malaysians, especially those living in Pulau Pinang. US-based medical devices company Dexcom Incorporated has officially opened its new manufacturing facility, also its first offshore manufacturing site outside the United States in Batu Kawan, Pulau Pinang. Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow said the 2.83 billion ringgit strategic investment will bring more than 3,000 jobs to the state, contributing to a workforce set to positively impact the lives of over 3 million people worldwide. Chow said Pulau Pinang is on the right path towards becoming the medical technology or medtech hub of Southeast Asia by leveraging on the state's over 50 years of industry excellence.
Pelaburan ini melibatkan 2 bilion lebih dan telah mensasarkan 3,000 peluang pekerjaan dan sehingga kini sudah dapat 2,000 lebih dan akan terus menggaji pekerja-pekerja khususnya graduate dari universiti untuk bekerja di sini dan kebanyakan kerja majoritinya orang tempatan pula. Ini satu perkembangan yang baik.
The Chief Minister was met at the opening ceremony today. Pulau Pinang Development Corporation Chief Executive Officer Dato Aziz Bakar, Invest Penang CEO Dato Lu Li Lian and Dexcom Chief Operating Officer Jake Leach were also present at the event. Dubbed the Silicon Valley of the East, Pulau Pinang has the highest concentration of medical technology companies in Malaysia and Southeast Asia to date. The state maintained its lead as the nation's top exporter in September, with a 37.5% share or 46.5 billion ringgit of total trade. A total of 4.5 million Muslim tourists visited Malaysia last year, generating an income of 14.7 billion ringgit. Looking at this significant potential, the director of the Islamic Tourism Centre, or ITC, Nizran Nordin, said that his agency will continue to play a proactive role in enhancing the understanding of Muslim-friendly tourism concepts. Nizran explained that the Muslim-friendly concept encompasses the entire tourism ecosystem, with industry players actively involved in empowering this sector. This aligns with the growing openness of tourists, including those from non-Muslim countries such as Korea, China, Japan and Europe. He added, by introducing international industry players to this concept, Malaysia can enhance its appeal as a Muslim-friendly tourism destination, adding unique value to tourism packages that showcase the country's identity, aligning with the goals of the Visit Malaysia Year 2026 campaign. This year, the ministry targets the arrival of 27.3 million international tourists, generating an income of 102.7 billion ringgit. The Malaysian Maritime Institute, also known as MIMA, strengthens its commitment to sustainability through involvement in various projects. Chairman of MIMA, Datuk Muhammad Sufian Awang, stated that these projects include the development of green shipping practices, the use of hybrid systems and electric propulsion, as well as the implementation of waste reduction initiatives. Elaborating further, he said involvement in this project ensures that Malaysia aligns with the goals of the International Maritime Organization, reducing carbon emissions intensity by 45% by the year 2030.
Ocean covers more than two-thirds of the Earth's surface and are vital for economic growth, contributing around USD 1.5 trillion annually to the global economy, a figure expected to be more than double by year 2030. In Malaysia, the maritime sector plays a critical role, accounting for approximately 40% of the nation's GDP and facilitating over 90% of exports via sea routes.
He also said through this initiative, the expertise of government agencies involved in the maritime sector can be mobilized for the planning and implementation of national maritime policies. It also undertakes various empowerment efforts in automation and digitization to make the country's ports more resilient and efficient. The next time you decide to travel by train across our country, you might be met with some new upgrades. Kereta Api Tanah Melayu Berhad, or KTMB, today signed a collaboration agreement with MyTV Broadcasting Sendirian Berhad, also known as MyTV, and Bubbles O2, a local premium mineral water producer, to offer a new experience for passengers in the business class of the electric train service, abbreviated to ETS. Its Chief Operating Officer, Muhammad Zain Mat Taha, said this collaboration is a continuous effort by KTMB to ensure passengers always receive quality and innovative services. Through the collaboration, MyTV via the MyTV Mana Mana application will introduce TV and radio channel services as well as interactive entertainment in the AVOD ETS system, whereas Bubbles O2 will supply naturally oxygenated mineral water. Muhammad Zain said this additional service will surely give passengers a modern and dynamic train experience, reflecting KTMB's commitment to provide quality services to Malaysians. He said KTMB will continue to be committed in efforts to improve their services through innovation and strategic strategies such as these. He also noted that this initiative will not only enhance passenger comfort, but will also build KTMB's image as a provider of high-quality train services, as well as always lead in introducing new experiences to the Malaysian people. Now, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, or DOSM, Malaysia's natural rubber, or NR, production decreased by 13.9% to 30,929 tonnes in September 2024, compared to 35,908 tonnes in August 2024. Year-on-year comparison showed that the production of NR fell by 5.6% from 757 tonnes in September of the previous year. Chief Statistician Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzir Mahidin said NR production in the month was mainly contributed by the smallholders sector at 85.9% compared to 14.1% by the estates sector. Meanwhile, exports of Malaysia's NR amounted to 39,915 tonnes in September 2024. A 30.6% decline compared with August 2024's 57,482 tonnes, contributed by NR-based products such as gloves, tyres, tubes and rubber thread. DOSM said China remained the main destination for NR exports, accounting for 32.1% of total exports in September 2024, followed by the United Arab Emirates 15.6%, Germany 11.7%, the United States 6.6% and Portugal 5.3%. Citing the Malaysia Rubber Board Digest published in September 2024, DOSM said the Kuala Lumpur rubber market showed an upward trend during the review period, with SMR 20 prices fluctuating within a narrow range. RHB Investment Bank Berhad, or RHBIB, has upgraded its recommendation on the plantation sector to overweight from neutral, given the higher crude palm oil or CPO prices, which have crossed the 5,000 ringgit per tonne amidst a blend of fundamental and speculative factors. It said share prices have yet to catch up and are due for a re-rating, as they still reflect CPO prices of about 4,500 ringgit per tonne. RHBIB raised its CPO price assumptions for 2024 to 4,100 ringgit per tonne, for 2025 to 4,300 ringgit per tonne, and for 2026, 4,100 ringgit per tonne. Going forward, it also said that United States President-elect Donald Trump's 2.0 policies could still benefit palm oil, albeit in a lesser extent, as China has shifted its resilience away from US soybean oil in the last 8 years. RHBIB's top picks include SD Guthrie, Johor Plantations Group, Sarawak Oil Palms, Bumi Tama Agri, and London Sumatra Indonesia. Meanwhile, Hong Leong Investment Bank Berhad has maintained its neutral stance on the sector, pending a review of its earnings forecasts and target prices in the upcoming results season. Year to date, its forecast for CPO is maintained at 4,150 ringgit per tonne for 2024 and 4,000 ringgit per tonne for 2025, with top picks including IOI Corporation and Hapseng Plantations. Public Investment Bank Berhad and Maybank Investment Bank Berhad have also maintained their neutral call for the sector. More great news for our economy. Bursa Malaysia Berhad is experiencing a resurgence in initial public offerings, or IPOs, as 2024 draws to a close, reflecting renewed investor confidence in the local bourse. With 44 IPOs to date, Bursa Malaysia has outpaced other regional markets in Southeast Asia, emerging as an attractive IPO destination amid a stable economic and political landscape. According to Muhammad Sidek Jantan, UOB K. Hyun, Wealth Advisors, Head of Investment Research. Several factors have contributed to this surge. He said the risks of doing business in the fourth quarter has subsided as major economic and political uncertainties have passed, such as the US presidential election, while Malaysia's active role in international forums has bolstered the country's global standing. He reckons that Malaysia's stable economic indicators, including positive trade figures, healthy employment rates and steady industrial production, have fostered a predictable business environment that encourages IPO activity. Elsewhere, Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid noted that the strong IPO pipeline signals positive prospects for the Malaysian economy as stable policies and a clear path towards becoming a high-income nation attract investor interest. Coming up, SSPA implementation expected to increase participation of people with disabilities in public service. But before that story, the trend of declining fiscal deficit reflects the government's commitment to reducing the debt to gross domestic product or GDP ratio, ensuring it stays below 60% in the medium term as stipulated by the Public Finance and Fiscal Responsibility Act 2023, Act 850. In a written response posted on the Parliament website recently, the Ministry of Finance or MOF stated that under the 2025 budget, the government aims to reduce the fiscal deficit to 3.8% of GDP. MOF stated in line with the reduction of the deficit, the government's new debt decreased to 92.6 billion ringgit, with 2023 from 100 billion ringgit from the previous year, and further to an estimated 84.7 billion ringgit in 2024, and targeted at 80 billion ringgit by 2025. The implementation of the Public Service Remuneration System, or SSPA, which will take effect next month, is expected to attract more persons with disabilities, also known as PWD, to join the public service. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Federal Territories, Dr. Zaliha Mustafa, said this is because the SSPA offers a more competitive salary and allowance structure, as well as better opportunities for promotion and career development within the scheme.
Struktur gaji dan allowance yang lebih kompetitif dan juga peluang kenaikan pangkat dan pembangunan kerjaya yang lebih baik dalam skim SSPA ini, insya-Allah sudah pastinya saya yakin boleh menarik minat lebih ramai rakan-rakan daripada golongan OKU untuk menyertai perkhidmatan awam. Malahan semua kelebihan terhadap urusan pengambilan pegawai OKU di bawah SSM akan terus dikekalkan di bawah SSPA ini.
That concludes this evening's Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, Proton takes significant step towards addressing global market demand. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. My name is Daryl Baptist. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful week ahead. Good night.